Hello friends, we will here and we have a new topic and you all seen on your screen, and this is about a flange coupling. So what is flange and why they use in the coupling, or what is the requirement of the flange coupling, all about this type of coupling and where they used. So all the details are will be discussed here. So again, I am Sanju Ganji and I welcome to all. So let's start the discussion of flange coupling. How the flange coupling is assembled, or how the two shaft will be joined by the using of flange coupling. So it is a small video, it is a short video, and where we know about the parts of flange coupling. So let's start with the it's a diagram. So here this one is your shaft, input shaft, and that is the requirement of like this. So here it is a shaft, you can say it a hollow cylindrical shaft which have a certain kind of internal and external diameter. So right now this is one, and the flange coupling is couple the two shaft from the ends. So this one right now we have again some kind of shaft like this, and now here we use a flange, two cast iron flanges like this, like this one, okay. And this cast iron flanges have the holes for threaded and bolted joint, because here we use two cast iron flanges. One have the rashes to insert the bolt or threaded bolt, okay. So right now this is where this one is your first, and again we use the other same like this, okay. So here I already told this have some arrangement for bolt and nuts like this one, for this, again for this, like this, okay. Around 4, 6, 8, 12 number of nuts are used, okay. And here I tell you that is a rashes for this, some kind of rashes for all the shaft, all the for both the flanges right now. So this is your cast iron flange, cast iron flange. This one is your input shaft and this one is your output shaft, okay. This is your nut and bolt arrangement, nut and bolt. So when this one and this one is comes close to each other, and from the end we use two cast iron coupling, and which have a certain kind of dimension, or you can say the hole for the inserting of the nut and bolt. You can say this one is the rashes, here made the rashes for this nut and bolt joint like this. Suppose this is a races for inserting this sketch pen, some kind of this. Okay, so these flanges have the races for inserting this nut and bolt. Okay, so this is most extensively used coupling. Its application, we telling about the application. So it is used on for the heavy loads, for the heavy loads and large shafting, large shafting. So now we can move to the next section, and it is about the type of flange coupling. So the flange coupling is looks like that, and this one is your flange, and which is made of cast iron. So this is used for connecting the shaft, for this shaft end, and this flange which have a certain kind of braces for inserting this nut and bolt are the other side of this shaft. Now through when like this and here like this, when we insert the shaft through the hub of the flange, then we make tight contact, or we can say that these two flanges have the contact and they do not have any looseness, because they affect the alignment, misalignment. They are the reason of the misalignment of the shaft, and they don't working properly. So this is your nut and bolt, this is your input shaft, and this one is your output shaft. So now we can move to the types of flange coupling. So flange coupling is basically divided into three types, and which are so it is your types of flange coupling. So we have a three kind of flange coupling. First one is protected type. Second one is unprotected type, and third one is marine type. So for the design consideration, all important parameters are same, but they have a little bit changes in their dimension. So we discussed here. We start with the discussion of the most important type of flange coupling, and which is a protected type flange coupling. So what is the what we say it a protected type flange coupling? But why we can say it is a protected type? Because if we join two shaft like this one with a certain kind of with the flange coupling, like this, then they have a nut and bolt, or through the between the shaft and this cast iron flange we use a nut to joining this. So when we are working with this kind of shaft, and the workman, if the workman have facing some kind of any looseness, thinking about any looseness, or they can, if they work, then they faces some damage in their hands or any part of their body, so they completely affect the workman. That's why we not use generally the unprotected type of flange coupling. So if we working with this type of coupling, that is unprotected type, then it is much more careful about this, that the nut and bolt are exploded. That means they are out of this out of their working surface, and they have generally damaged the workman. So we don't think so that the unprotected type of flange coupling are safe for us, so we use the protected type of flange coupling. All the dimension are same, but there is certain kind of protective circumferential flange thickness, protective circumferential thickness of flange, and they protect the workman for any kind of danger, okay, any kind of accident. So here we just firstly learn or know about the parts of protected type flange coupling. This is your protected type flange coupling. Protected type flange coupling. So normally in flange coupling, the bolts and nuts may be covered by, the bolts and nuts are exposed and liable to cause injury to the workman. Hence, as a protection, the bolt head and nuts may be covered. The bolts, heads and nuts may be covered by providing an annular projection on each flanges a flange coupling, each flanges, okay. So because of the protection against the injury, we use the cover for bolt head and nuts on the flange. That's why we call this type of coupling as a protected type flange coupling. Now we can see the parts of the protected type flange coupling. So here these are the parts of the protected type flange coupling. These are your flange, and which we, for the requirement, it is a 2-piece and it is made of cast iron, and this is bolt, and we take a 4 number of or 5 number of bolts here. For this our application, this is 4, and it is a nut also, it is 4, and there is two shaft, because one for input, this one flange, and second one is your output shaft, and for the other flange, and the key for each shaft is taken as a 2, and which is a saddle key, right now we see in the, we will looking for their front view and how the protected type flange coupling looks like when we see from the front. So continue with me. So here, this is your protected type flange coupling. Clear? Okay. This is your shaft, this is your hub, and the hub have a certain kind of length and the diameter. Also the shaft have some kind of diameter, let us, it is equal to d, and the diameter of the hub from this end to this end, it is hub diameter, and which is equal to 2d. Now right now we are moving to the upward side, then this you all seen, they are looks like a certain kind of nut and bolt. So this is your nut and bolt, and the diameter or mean diameter of bolt is d1, and from the center of the diameter of bolt through this part, this section, it is known as a pitch circle diameter of bolt, and which is equal to 3d, 3 into diameter of shaft. Now the outermost diameter from this end to this end, it is outer diameter of flange, which is denoted by d2, and which is equal to 4 into d. Okay, we are looking for here, and it is tf, that is thickness of flange, and tp, that is, I already tell you about that, that is a protective circumferential flange, and which is equal to, tp is equal to 0.25 into d, and thickness of flange is equal to 0.5 into d. Okay, so all the design parameters are here. Now we can design what is the process, or what is the point by which we design a protected type flange coupling. So let we start design of flange coupling. Design of flange coupling. Okay, so let what kind of parameters is required. So let small d is equal to diameter of the shaft, and as we discussed earlier, capital D is equal to diameter of hub, capital D1 is equal to pitch circle diameter of bolt, capital D2 is equal to outside diameter of flange, and small d1 is equal to nominal diameter of bolt. Tf is equal to thickness of flange, Tp is equal to protective circumferential thickness, flange thickness. Now all the design parameter for flange coupling and protected type flange coupling and unprotected type flange coupling are same, but only the difference between these two type of coupling is the Tp, because in the protected type flange coupling we have a protection against the nut and bolt. So the thickness of this protection or this part just like a protective circumferential flange, and which is TP. So right now all the design parameter are fixed here. So D is D, capital D, that is diameter of hub is equal to 2 into D, pitch circle of bolt is equal to 3 into D, outside diameter of flange is equal to 4. D small d1 is equal to 0.5 into D, and TF, that is the thickness of flange, sorry, nominal diameter is not known. TF is equal to 0.25 into D, and the TP is equal to 0.5 into D is the thickness of flange, and the protective circumferential flange thickness is 0.25 into D. So it is clear, and one dimension is more, that is length of key or length of hub. Length of key small l and capital L is equal to length of hub, and which is taken as 3.5 into D. Okay, so now we discuss the design procedure with point wise, and again n, small n is equal to number of bolts. It is also necessary parameter. So if the application are going on, or we can say the power transmission between the two shafts are continuing, then the shaft or the coupling faces some kind of stresses with a certain parts. So here the following allowable or permissible value of stresses are allowable, or permissible values of stresses. Permissible stresses are introduced. So what kind of stresses are act? So let's start with the discussion. That is tau s. Allowable shear stress for shaft material. Allowable shear stress for shaft material. And the other one is tau b, that is allowable shear stress for bolt. Tau k, that is allowable shear stress for key. And next is tau c, that is allowable shear stress for flange material. Allowable shear stress for flange, that is made of cast iron. And right now this is your shear stresses, all is shear stresses, but we have some kind of crushing stresses for bolt and key. So sigma cb is the permissible crushing stress for bolt material, and sigma ck is equal to permissible crushing stress for key material. Okay, so these are the types of the allowable stresses which are act during the application or during the working of the shaft. Okay, so right now we are going to discuss the design for hub right now. So now first design consideration is design for hub. So as we know, hub is a hollow cylindrical piece, and we know when the torque transmitted by hollow cylinder, then it is given by T is equal to pi by 16 into tau c into d power 4 minus small t power 4 upon capital D. Okay, so here we check the induced crushing stress, induced shear stress tau c in the hub. Okay, so right now putting D is equal to 2 into small d, and T is find from the equation of P, that is 2 pi and T by 60. So putting the value of P and we find the T. Okay, now putting all the value here, we are checked the value of induced shear stress, in the hub or in the shaft. Okay, so from using this equation we check the value of tau c, and if this tau c is less than the tau c, that means the permissible value which is given in the question. If this induced shear stress is less than the given value in the question, then our design is safe. But if it is greater than the induced the permissible value, then our design will be fail. And if this failure occur, if remember my what I'm saying, it will be fail. Then if the condition arise, then we put all the value including tau c and check and find the diameter d. Okay, then this will be okay, or this value is safe right now. So now the next parameter is, and now one more thing, this we forget about this. It is the length, capital L, length of the key, and length of the key is 1.5 into d, because they have two pieces, one for one shaft and one for the other shaft. So for the proper dimension, the length of hub is taken as 1.5 into d for this case. Now we can talk about the design for key. So you all know we are discuss the design of key in the section of, or in the lecture of the design of key. So you can take advantage from here. Right now we just shortly discuss about the design of key. So like this is your some kind of key. Okay, so these have a length and the thickness and the width. So considering it, the value of the design and the key is taken from the design data book. And if all the keys have a certain kind of dimension parameters, like if you select the rectangular key, then the width is equal to d by 4 and the thickness is equal to d by 6. So it is totally fixed value. Now design of key is why much important, because they facing a certain kind of crushing and shearing stresses. So need to check this. So if we consider the crushing stress, considering shearing, first discuss the shearing, considering shearing stress. So the torque transmitted is given by T is equal to small l into small w into tau into d by 2. So from this equation you check the value of tau, and if it is less than the induced shear stress given value of the permissible value of the stress for key, then it is safe. And if it is greater than the if it is greater than the permissible value, then it will be fail. So need to change the dimension of width, okay, and length. Now we considering the crushing. If we considering the crushing stress, then it is the torque transmitted T is given by small l into T by 2 into sigma c into d by 2. Again from this equation we check the value of induced crushing stress, and if it is less than the permissible value of permissible crushing stress, then it will be safe, and if failure occurs, then same will be done like this. Okay, putting the value of sigma c d here and find the T or L. Okay, so this is done completely. Now we will be going for the next section, and it is the design for third one is design of flange. so what is the parameter, what was the parameter for the flange? So we know the flange, okay, so junction where the flange at the junction of hub is under shear, okay, some kind of shear is faces when designing the flange. So the torque transmitted is given by, for this case torque transmission is given by circumference of hub into flange, so that means thickness of flange TF into shear stress of flange, that is tau c, and radius of hub, that means d by 2. So what is the circumference of hub? This is pi into d into TF into tau c into d by 2. Okay, so we all know TF is equal to, it is a fixed value and it is given by 0.5 into d. Then now we put the value of TF and check again the crushing stress, induced crushing stress. So it is about tau c is equal to 2t, 2 is here, 2t into pi d square into TF, and if tau c is less than the permissible crushing stress, then it is safe, and if tau c is greater than tau permissible, then failure occurs. And during when there is the failure occurring of the failure, then we must put the value of stress here and find the TF or D. So not a D, it's a TF. Okay, so this is the design of flange. Now the next section is the design for bolts. Design for bolts. So how the bolt can be designed? So as we know, small d1 is the nominal diameter of bolt, and when bolt are also subjected to shear stress, so when some kind of load acts on the bolt, then what is the value of the load? So here load on each bolt will be is equal to area of the bolt pi by 4 into d1 square into the recommended stress, that means shear stress, so that is tau b. And if we use number of bolts like 5, 6, anything, then the total load on all bolts, so if the number of bolts is n, then it is equal to n into pi by 4 into d1 chi square into tau b. So if so total load on all the bolt is n into pi by 4 into d1 square into tau b. Now total torque transmitted through the bolts is given by T is equal to load into radius of bolt. So load is n into pi by 4 into d1 chi square into tau b into radius of the bolt. So mean diameter of the bolt is d1 and the radius is d1 by 2. So putting all the values like tau b, d1, t, n, and how n will be calculated. So this is, keep in mind that when the shaft diameter is up to 40 mm, then number of bolts will be 3, and if it is equal to 40 to 100 mm, then it is 4, and if it is 100 to 180 mm, then it is about 6. Okay, so this is kept in mind always. Right now we can check the value of D1 here, and during the torque transmission in the bolt material, some kind of crushing stress is also act. So what is the value of this? So area resisting crushing of all bolt, area resisting crushing of all bolts, so it is of about A is equal to, so total number of bolts is N into what is the nominal diameter, this is D1, and what is the thickness of flange, that is TF. So this is your, because the flange in along the flange thickness the bolts are inserted, so this is your area resisting the crushing. And right now what is the crushing strength? So it is equal to area into crushing stress, that is, and which is including the bolt, sigma CV. So it is about N into D1 into TF into sigma CV. And now total strength is nothing but a kind of force. So total torque transmitted T is given by force into D1 by 2, because this is the outside diameter, or sorry, mean diameter of the bolt. So force, what is the force? So it is about N into D1 into TF into sigma CV into D1 by 2. Now putting TF is equal to 0.5 into D, we check the value of sigma CB here. If sigma CB is less than induced, not induced, it is given or allowable, then it is safe, and if is greater than the allowable, then the design is fail. Now need to check the dimension of nominal diameter or the mean diameter of the bolt. Okay, so this is the design parameter or the design criteria for the protected type flange coupling, and I hope you understand it. And we again come with question. Take a question and solve it, how to solve a question regarding the protected type flange coupling in the next video. So please revise it, and please look it at a short time, or you can take a certain kind of, you need to solve for all machine elements, so you need to have a data book. From using this, you take the necessary value of all the dimensions, all the parameters, so it will be easy in your exam to solve all the question very easily. So thank you guys, and please subscribe my channel, and please like my video. Thank you.